fantasy owners. LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in, watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate you watching or listening to the episode no matter how you're streaming it. Today's our weekend ads episode, so we're going to look at this weekend's schedule, try and find you the advantage and suggest players to hopefully help strengthen your fantasy roster as you make the final push for this week in your fantasy leagues. Some things to note: Friday there's 10 games, Saturday 8 games, and Sunday 10 games. We're kind of used to Friday and Sunday being the light nights and Saturday being jam-packed, but not really this weekend. Kind of teeters down a bit by 2 games going 10, 8, and 6 for this week. So Friday and Saturday, obviously you have over half the league playing. And with that, Sunday is the lightest night, so we will cover all Sunday teams there. And then we'll also cover any team that has 2 games this weekend to hopefully maximize on some games played. We will start out by covering St. Louis first, as they only play Sunday this weekend, and that being the lightest night. Then we'll cover Saturday and Sunday teams. That way you can get 2 games out of them, and those being the 2 lightest nights of the 3 nights this weekend. Then we'll cover Friday, Sunday. That way it includes, again, the lightest night being Sunday, with the heaviest night being Friday. And then we'll finish with teams that play Friday and Saturday, the 2 heaviest nights in the league, and still have decent wiggle room, but not a lot of wiggle room as compared to the other options there. So basically we'll get right into it. Some Blues defensemen and forwards there. On the back end, look at Colton Parayko. Only owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top pairing. He has 3 points the last 3 games there, so not bad for the last week. Not known for his offense, but 5 shots on goal, 5 hits, and 3 blocks in those 3 games. His offense really is hot and cold this year. The value is in the hits and blocks department, so any offense is a bonus with him. But it being a light night, and if he's chipping in a little bit of late, might be a streaming option for you. Up front, look at Robert Thomas, listed as a center, owned in 55% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 13 points the last 11 games. He really is a good offensive player, and he's been heating up of late, so he should be a pretty nice streaming option on a Sunday there. Next one's Ryan O'Reilly, listed as a center, owned in 39% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 4 points the last 5 games there, and 11 shots on goal, 37 face-off wins. If face-off wins are counted in your league, definitely be looking to scoop him up, and 5 hits. He's fairly well-rounded player. He's okay numbers in most cats, so could be a pretty good stream for you on a light Sunday there. The last one is Brandon Saad, listed as a left winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit. He's been pointless the last 3 games, but he put up 3 points over the previous 2. Really, he is in the top 6, but he is very streaky, so there is a lot of risk with him. So in a real deep league, it's a light night option for you. So now we'll move along to some D-men that play both Saturday and Sunday, the 2 lightest nights this weekend. And first one I had was Radko Gudas, but he's in concussion protocol, so really ignore that, because more than likely he won't be back for the weekend there. Next one, Sean Dursey over in LA, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit, and he has 7 points in the midst of a 5-game point streak there, with 8 hits and 9 blocks in those 5 games. So getting you really nice hit and block numbers. His offense has really been on as of late, so with both of the lighter nights this weekend, should be a pretty good ad for you if you can get them. Before we move into the next segment, would like to ask you to subscribe as we're trying to grow this channel. Really appreciate the support. Hopefully you're getting some value out of these episodes here. And there's the little plug for me there. And we'll move along to some forwards that play both light nights, being Saturday and Sunday. We'll start off in Florida. Look at Anton Lundell, listed as a center, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the second line, second power play unit. He's put up 4 points the last 5 games there, with 10 shots on goal and 4 blocks. Watch his health status though, because he did miss the last game there, so not 100% sure if he'll be back for this weekend. Isn't considered to be too serious, but if he is healthy, he is fairly well-rounded. Gets you some numbers in different categories there. Not going to wow you, not going to hurt you, so it'd be a pretty nice depth piece getting both light nights this weekend. Next one is Carter Verhaeghe, listed as a left winger, owned in 61% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top line, second power play unit there, and he has 4 points the last 5 games with 16 shots on goal. He really has been holding his own with Barkov out of the lineup with that illness. With that, it shows most, even myself included, thought he was pretty Barkov dependent, but he's kind of proven us wrong over this last little bit. Still producing, and Barkov should be back soon. So with that, his value should even increase, and with both light nights this weekend, should be a pretty good ad. Next one in Florida is Eetu Listerainen, listed as center left winger, owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line, second power play unit. He also has 4 points the last 5 games there, with 5 blocks in those games. With that, he's getting more opportunity with the injuries and the people out of the lineup in Florida. Plus, they only had to dress 11 forwards the other game due to cap reasons, etc. Staying in the lineup with his low salary there. So, in a deep league, he could provide some value for you. Going over to LA, look at Adrian Kempe, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 5 points the last 6 games with 13 shots on goal and 12 hits. His offense is down from last year, as we all know, as we've all seen, but still he should be a pretty good streaming option for you this weekend. Another one in LA is Gabriel Velarde, listed as a left winger, right winger, owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that third line right now, second power play unit, and he has 4 points the last 5 games with 10 shots on goal. He has been quite streaky, so with his streakiness, there is a little bit risky, but in deeper leagues, he should provide some value for you. Last one in LA is Victor Arvidsson, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit there, and he has 10 points the last 10 games played with 20 shots on goal and 8 blocks. He's been pretty consistent all year, and there's no reason to think with 2 games this weekend that you won't squeeze some value out of him as a streamer. Now we'll move along to some D-men that play Friday and Sunday. First one is Jakob Chychrun from Arizona, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit, and he has 6 points the last 6 games with 29 shots on goal, plus 4, 8 hits, and 8 blocks. As you can see, he's really well-rounded, chips in pretty much every category in there, so he should be a pretty safe streaming option this weekend. Next one is Shane Gostisbehere from Arizona, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing, top power play unit, and he's put up 7 points the last 6 games there with 8 blocks in there. He had been pretty streaky through the course of the season, but since Chychrun's came back and he's been paired with Chychrun, Gostisbehere's been pretty good, so he should be a fairly decent streamer this weekend, especially if Chychrun isn't available. Next one is J.J. Moser in Arizona, owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second pairing, second power play unit. He's been pointless the last 3, but he had points in 8 of the previous 9 games there. So he can produce, but more for deeper leagues as Chychrun's come back, and that's eaten into some of his opportunity, which kind of lessens his value a bit. Over in Columbus, look at Vladislav Gavrikov. Owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing, second power play unit. He has 2 points the last 3 games here with 3 hits and 7 blocks. His value really is in the hits and blocks department, but he is getting some power play time, and with that, a little bit more ice time is starting to chip in a bit. So in a deeper league, he might provide some value for you this weekend. Next one's over in Philadelphia. Look at Travis Sanheim. only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit, and he has 9 points the last 9 games with 14 shots on goal, 10 hits, and 19 blocks. He's been hot for a while now, over 9 games. He gets you a nice amount of hits and blocks there, decent amount of shots on goal from the back end, so you should be able to get some decent value the way he's been rolling of late. Another one in Philadelphia is Ivan Provorov, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top pairing and on that second power play unit there. He has 4 points the last 7 games, so just over half point per game there. 13 shots on goal, 13 hits, and 19 blocks. His value, he gets you a S-load of hits and blocks there. He gets you right around that half point per game. So depending how your league is formatted, should be able to get some decent value if you can fit him in there. Over in Seattle, look at Justin Schultz, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit. He's been pointless the last 2 games, but before that he put up 10 points in the previous 6 games there. So he is really hot and cold. He was really hot to start. I know his owners, you've probably seen his ownership shoot up, and then he was a ghost for a while. Dropped right down, and he's been pretty good of late. With that, hopefully in deeper leagues, you should be able to squeeze some value out of him. Another one in Seattle is Vince Dunn, owned in 54% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top pairing, top power play unit there. And he has 6 points the last 6 games there. In those 6 games, he's a +8, 11 hits, and 6 blocks. He chips in on most categories, so if you're in a broad-based league or a Cats league, should definitely get some value for him on this weekend. The last one's Neil Pionk over in Winnipeg, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top pairing, second power play unit. He's been pointless the last 8 games, which is uncharacteristic for him, but 5 points the previous 4 games. He really is, can't say it enough, uncharacteristically cold right now. With that, he has talent, but risky with his lack of offense of late, so if you're in a deeper league or in a pinch, he is an option for you this weekend. Move along to some forwards that play both Friday and Sunday. First one is Nick Schmaltz over in Arizona, listed as center right winger, owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, top power play unit there. He's been pointless the last 3 games, but had 4 points the previous 3 games there. So he's been a bit streaky to start here, but he does have good chemistry with Keller. They were dynamite the second half last year. So with that, is an option for you this weekend. Another one in Arizona to look at is Matthias Michelli, listed as a left winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit. He currently put up 7 points over a 5-game point streak right now. His only value is in points though, because his shots on goal, hits, and blocks are pretty porous to say the least there. So in a deeper scoring league, he is an option for you this weekend. Another one in Arizona to look at is Nick Bjugstad, listed as center right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that second line. He's put up 6 points the last 7 games there. With that, he's been +9 in those 7 games and 6 blocks. He's in the top 6 for now. He doesn't always stay in the top 6 for long there. And with that, he is getting some pretty decent production. So in a deeper league, might provide some value for you. The last one in Arizona is Lawson Krause, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line, second power play unit there. He has 4 points the last 6 games, so decent production. +5, 9 shots on goal, 12 hits, averaging 2 hits a game, which is pretty nice hit totals there, and 5 blocks. He's basically a banger with some offense there, so depending how your league is formatted, could squeeze some value out of him. Going over to Boston, look at Jake DeBrusk, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 60% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top line, top power play unit there. And he only has 1 point in the last 4 games, but before that he put up 5 points the previous 4 games there. So he can be streaky, as you can see there, but overall he is a fairly decent option for you this weekend. Another one in Boston is Pavel Zacha, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. So like that, you can slot him anywhere in the forward ranks there. Only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues. Playing second line, second power play unit. And he's put up 8 points the last 9 games. And in those 9 games, he's a +6. So if plus minus is counted, little added bonus for you. So he is overall a pretty solid option in deeper leagues. Another one in Boston is David Krejci, listed as a center, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues there. Plays on the second line, second power play unit. He's put up 10 points over the last 8 games, so pretty nice, over a point per game over the last stretch there. 3 of those being on the power play, 18 shots on goal, and 5 blocks. He is pretty solid in most categories there, so in a broader based league or a Cats league, should be a pretty good option for you come this weekend. Another one in Boston's Taylor Hall, listed as a left winger, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the third line right now, second power play unit, and he has 8 points the last 9 games there with 29 shots on goal and 5 blocks, which is kind of surprising. He's getting his body in front of the puck a bit. He's playing well right now. He just disappears at times, so there is some risk involved. But depending what's available in your league, might be an option for you come this weekend. Going over to Colorado, look at JT Compher. Listed as center right winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line. Might be moved up to the top line. Hard to say with McKinnon out. Haven't seen the line combinations with McKinnon not factored in there. But he's put up 7 points the last 6 games with 12 shots on goal, 6 blocks. He wins you a lot of face-offs, so if those are counted in your league, that's a little added value there. And offense is streaky, but right now he might be a fairly decent option for you depending how the line combinations work out in Colorado. Should mention Alex Newhook might be another option for you, again, depending on the line combinations. Haven't seen him with McKinnon not factored in there. Going over to Columbus, look at Boone Jenner, listed as a center, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line, top power play unit there. And he's put up 12 points the last 11 games. In those 11 games, he's fired 36 pucks on net, 16 hits, and 14 blocks. That block total is amazing for a forward over the last little bit. He's doing it all right now, and you will get some value out of him if you can get him in your league there. Next one is Ken Johnson, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues. Playing second line, up on that top power play unit, and he's put up 4 points the last 4 games there. 2 of those points being on the power play, and 3 blocks in those 4 games, so pretty nice block total. Small sample size, but decent amount in that short amount of time. The kid does have talent, but he can be streaky, so there is a little bit of risk, but might be a decent deep league option for you this weekend. Going over to Philadelphia, look at Travis Konechny, listed as a right winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top line, top power play unit there, and he has goals in 3 straight games since coming back from injury there. So basically he's a must stream if he is available in your league. Another one from Phillies, Kevin Hayes, listed as a center, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there. He has 14 points his last 12 games with 37 shots on goal. His plus minus hurts a bit, but his offense that he's had this year, he's been really consistent. You will get some value from him come this weekend. Another one from Phillies, Lucas Sedlak, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Available everywhere, 0% owned. But up on that second line and is on the top power play unit right now. And he's put up 5 points the last 5 games there. 9 shots on goal, 10 hits, and 4 blocks. He's good of late, but it's a pretty limited runway with him in the top 6 there. So with that, I would leave him for more deeper leagues, as there's probably a little safer options for you in standard leagues. Going over to Seattle, look at Andre Burakovsky, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 60% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line, top power play unit there. And he's put up 15 points the last 11 games with 35 shots on goal. So a really nice shot total there. His offense has been there most of the year. He's been fairly consistent throughout the year. So you will get some value from him if you can fit him into your lineup this weekend. Another one in Seattle's Jared McCann, listed as center left winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the second line, top power play unit there. And he has 8 points the last 8 games. With that, he's been +8, 19 shots on goal, and 10 hits. He's been pretty good of late. And if you can fit him in your lineup, depending what's available, you should be a pretty okay streamer for this weekend. Another one in Seattle's Matty Beniers, listed as a center, owned in 43% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line and second power play unit. Man, the kid's been hot. 12 points the last 7 games. In those 7 games, he's been a +10, 3 power play points, 20 shots on goal, 10 hits, 5 blocks. All around, he's been great of late. There's no other way to put it there. So if you can fit him in the way he's rolling, should definitely get some value from him this weekend. Another one in Seattle's Jordan Eberle, listed as a right winger, only owned in 19% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the second line, up on the top power play unit. And the vet's been really good of late. 14 points the last 11 games there, +11, and 30 shots on goal. He's been really solid for a while now, as you can see over an 11-game stretch. As a streamer, you should get some fairly decent value out of him this weekend. Going over to Vegas, look at Reilly Smith, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the second line, second power play unit there. He has 3 points the last 5 games there with 8 shots on goal. He's obviously cooled off some over the last little bit, but normally he's a fairly decent streaming option. That's why I mentioned him for this weekend there. Over in Washington, look at Dylan Strome, listed as center right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit. And he has 8 points in the last 10 games there, so pretty good production. Out of those 8 points, 3 of them have been on the power play, 26 shots on goal. Overall, he's a pretty decent offensive player. And as a streamer, you should get some value from him if you can get him this weekend. Another one is Marcus Johansson from Washington, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the third line, but up on the top power play unit. And he's put up 4 points the last 7 games, so not the greatest production. But of those 4 points, 3 of them have been on the power play. So he is streaky, but being on that top power play, depending how deep your league is, you might be able to squeeze some okay value out of him. Going over to Winnipeg, look at Cole Perfetti, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Really like it the way this weekend plays out, that you can fit him in any of your forward spots there. Owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues. Up on the top line, second power play unit there. And he has 7 points in the midst of a 5-game point streak right now. 15 shots on goal and 5 hits. He's up on that top line and producing. And with that, and the fact that you can put him anywhere in your forward ranks there, you should be able to get some decent value out of him. Another one in Winnipeg's Blake Wheeler, listed as a right winger, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line and top power play unit, and he has 10 points in a 5-game point streak, so about as hot as you can get there. 14 shots on goal and 5 blocks. He's really hot right now, and basically a must stream if he's available in your leagues for this weekend. Another one in Winnipeg to look at is Adam Lowry, listed as a center, only owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues. On that third line, second power play unit, he's put up 6 points the last 5 games, so pretty good offense for the last week and a bit here. In those 5 games, he's been a +3, 5 hits and 5 blocks. His offense is really streaky though, so I will mention that, but in a real deep league, could get some value out of him as a streamer. Now we'll move along to some Demon that play Friday and Saturday. We'll start off in Calgary. Look at Noah Hanifin, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues. Plays in the top pairing second power play unit there. And he has 3 points the last 5 games, so over half point per game. In those 5 games, he has 10 shots on goal, 7 hits, and 11 blocks. So he chips in a little bit everywhere, and having 2 games this weekend, maybe you can fit in another player ad for Sunday, might be able to get some value out of him. Over in Minnesota, look at Kalen Addison, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing, but up on that top power play unit, and he has 6 points the last 6 games there. 4 of those 6 points have been on the power play, and 9 shots on goal. So his offense can be streaky, as with most young defensemen there, but he gets you a lot of power play points, and he is hot of late. So depending how your league is formatted, you might be able to get some value out of him. Another one in Minnesota is Jared Spurgeon, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top pairing second power play unit. And he has 4 points the last 4 games there, so a nice little run the last week here. 13 shots on goal and 5 blocks. He's been a little bit streakier than we have seen in the past with him. That's with him being knocked down to the second power play unit, not getting top unit power play time there. But he still should be an okay option to stream this weekend. Next one is Pierre-Olivier Joseph over in Pittsburgh. 0% owned, so available everywhere. Playing on the third pairing, but on that second power play unit, he has 2 points the last 3 games there, with 5 shots on goal and 10 hits. So he gets you a really nice hit total there. He's getting a little more opportunity with Letang out, but I do mention him for your real deep leagues, where a lot of the players that I mentioned aren't available. Now we'll move along to some forwards that play both Friday and Saturday. First one is Dylan Cozens over in Buffalo. Listed as a center, owned in 38% of Yahoo leagues. That's been shooting up pretty quickly. Playing on the second line, up on the top power play unit there. And he has 13 points in the last 8 games there. Plus 5, 33 shots on goal and 4 blocks. He's been really hot of late and playing with a ton of confidence. Good young kid. You should get some real nice value out of him if you can fit him in this weekend. Another one in Buffalo is Jack Quinn, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line, second power play unit there. And he has 9 points in the last 8 games, plus 4 and 18 shots on goal. That second line really has been hot in Buffalo. Buffalo can score in bunches too. And Quinn, you should get some pretty decent offensive value from him if you stream him this weekend. And next one is JJ Peterka, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line in Buffalo and second power play unit. And he has 6 points the last 7 games and plus 6 in those 7 games there. Basically just rounding out that second line. They're all kind of scoring now. Peterka's kind of the least valuable out of the bunch, so in a deeper league, could provide some value for you. Going over to Calgary, look at Tyler Toffoli, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, up on the top line and top power play unit. He's put up 5 points the last 5 games there, with 14 shots on goal and 7 hits. Maybe with this last little stretch, 5 points in 5 games, he might be showing some signs of snapping out of his slump there. He's been pretty off and on. Definitely not what we're used to out of Toffoli, but the last little bit he's been a lot better. If he's snapping out of it, you should be able to get some decent value from him this weekend. Another one in Calgary is Dylan Dubé, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, so basically everywhere. Playing second line, second power play unit there. And he has 5 points the last 4 games, plus 4, 8 shots on goal and 9 hits. It's been really streaky but good of late. So in a deep league, he might be an option for you as a streamer this weekend. Another one in Calgary is Andrew Mangiapane, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit, and he's put up 4 points the last 4 games. And in those 4 games, he's a +5 and has 9 shots on goal. He definitely is down from last year, but he is having a better last week and a bit here, so he might provide some value for you this weekend if you choose to stream him. Next one in Calgary is Adam Ruzicka. Listed as center left winger, only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third line, second power play unit, and he has 5 points in the last 5 games there with 5 hits in those games. He's not on the top line currently, but he does get bumped up to that top line some shifts during the game. Sutter usually has him in a blender there, so with not being on the top line, he's a little more risky, but in a deep, deep league, he will get the odd shift on the top line. Might be an option for you. Over in Minnesota, look at Joel Eriksson Ek, listed as a center, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, centering that third line up on the top power play unit, and he currently has 10 points in a 6-game point streak there, and in those 6 games he has 20 shots on goal, 12 hits and 3 blocks, so he's hot offensively, chips in most categories, pretty much a must stream if you can fit him in this weekend. Next one is Brian Rust over in Pittsburgh. Listed as a right winger, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit. He's been pretty bad fantasy-wise this year, but he's put up 6 points in the last 2 games, so hopefully that's a sign that he's snapping out of it. And a little bit risky with how he started, but might be an option for you this weekend. And the last one in Pittsburgh's Kasperi Kapanen, listed as a right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that third line, second power play unit. He has 5 points in just the last 2 games there, with 7 shots on goal and 7 hits. He is a real hit or miss option. He's been a lot of bagels in the stats column this year, but as he's been playing the last couple of games in a real deep league, might be an option for you. That's it for this episode. Hope you did enjoy it. We'll be out in a bit with our Week 10 strategy episode. If you did like it, found some value, and you're watching via YouTube, remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell. If you're listening via podcast, remember to give us a 5-star review, maybe hit that heart, hit follow, hit subscribe, depending what platform you're watching it on. And we'll talk to you soon, and good luck there, fantasy owners.